And
Now it's
radio
live.
is live.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to. Oh, geez, excuse me. I'm
Jesus.
so sorry. Welcome to the promised one of several things that may be happening this 6 month anniversary of the radio here. And we are actually doing a live stream both on video that Nagi is covering, and I'm
Hey.
here on the radio. And speaking of anniversaries, since that is the topic, we are here to talk with two of the key leads, I guess you guys are, of the Apollo 11 50th anniversary.
Lead?
This is quite a mouthful. 50th anniversary expedition. Is that right?
That's
Yeah.
correct. You can call it
Yeah.
A11X if you wish, because that's just what we call it, because it's nice and short.
Yeah.
Or
So,
shorter, anyway.
people might remember Yannick. He's back with us again, and he's here with Helium 7. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Alright, I'm Commander Yannick. Some of you may know me from various expeditions around the galaxy, including Mercury 7, Minerva Centaurus, and Lightning Strike. And I think I was here last when we were talking about Distant Worlds and all the wonders of Distant Worlds 2 and, just what everyone was expecting and everything to do with that, really. And this is my
Yeah.
comrade Helium 7.
Hi there. Well, yeah, probably nobody knows me from the radio. Barely anyone, at least.
Oh,
My
I know you
first-
both.
Yeah,
When
you,
Yannick,
but
Yannick says comrade, what he really means is like his closest compatriot and getting into bad deeds.
I don't mean in a communistic sense of comrade. I mean.
yeah, it's my first organization role in the expedition. So, yeah. Been on a few before, but this is the first one where I've actually got a position and have to do stuff.
So I think
Guess
that
the
makes
same
this.
goes for me.
Yeah, that's the thing. We should point out Nagi is also heavily involved in this expedition, as well
Yeah,
as
that's true.
some other things that he's up to, but we won't talk about them right now. But so this makes, what is this for you now? Is that 5 expeditions now that you've headed up, Yannick?
This will be my 8th overall. 4 major, 4 minor, I think. Depending how you cut it, but yeah, something like that.
Jeez. And obviously this one was kind of special, and I think it's really unique and special for pretty much the entire community of Elite Dangerous, because it really does this kind of reference, at least, the roots of why we're all here in a way.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. This is the thing. It's sort of an iconic event in of itself, Apollo 11. Obviously, we're coming up to the 50th anniversary on July the 20th of that first moon landing. And as you say, it's like it's a universally known space event, even outside of people who don't give a damn normally about space exploration. But anyone with any interest in space or science fiction or anything is just an automatic interest, really, isn't it? But that's the kind of weird thing about this, is because it's the 50th anniversary coming up, it's something that kind of almost forced itself upon me, thinking that I can't really pass up the opportunity not to do something
jeez.
to commemorate this. But yeah, it is definitely something that sort of does speak for itself, and as you say, does speak to the entire community, hopefully. But that's why I think one of the sort of founding ideas of this was anyone who wants to come along can. If you can get a ship and you can come along within the game, please do. No matter how inexperienced or experienced you are, please turn up, because this is something literally everyone has an interest in, and the more the merrier, really.
Yeah, it's also a really short expedition, so you don't have to have a super high range ship to attend.
No,
And,
absolutely.
it's also
Essentially,
rather.
noobs are
It's also,
welcome.
I was also going to point out it's also rather short in duration for compared to some of your others, is it not?
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. I mean, we're only out for a couple of weeks on this, but it's because obviously the anniversary itself, the anniversary date is going to be the end of the expedition on July the 20th, so sort of symbolically to sort of, as they touch down on the moon, we'll be ending the expedition. So as I say, that's another thing that's quite interesting. So the sort of date, sort of in a way, kind of dictates the expedition. Yeah, it's
And
quite strange in a way because everything previously I've organised on almost every other expedition, sort of leader, organiser, has always put things together based upon their own sort of personal timetable and what the best thing would be for the community or members of staff that they were, helping them do that. But this one is a case of no, this happens on this date. This is absolutely immovable. If you do it, you've got to do it then. So in some ways that is actually a bit more of a headache, but it's also simultaneously quite an inspiring thing. The thing is, well, okay, I've got to do a lot of stuff in a short period, but it's nothing compared to what the actual sort of astronauts were doing, or the mission control people, or anyone in
Oh, yeah.
NASA. I mean, remember, like 400,000 people were involved in making the Apollo program happen. I mean, that's an army of people, almost literally. It's a fantastic effort.
And of course the beauty of basically landing a giant Coke can on another planet with the technology of a Nintendo, an original Nintendo.
Yeah.
like, like it just it's mind-boggling to us today to think about that. Like, in your pocket, you hold a computer that is tens of thousands of times more powerful than the computers that we use to put people on another planet.
Moon.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, when speaking of computers, Miracle Skyrider recently posted that nice picture of Margaret Hamilton stacking up the code that was used for.
Oh, that's a beautiful
just-
photo. It's like what is it, like 8 feet high of printer paper, old school. What were those printers called? The
Dot
the
matrix?
bit printers, dot matrix printer. Yeah, like 8 feet tall stack of dot matrix printer paper. Just
Yeah.
it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
She even got a Lego figure for her work.
Oh, that's fantastic.
No, that's true. There was like I think a Women of NASA Lego series that came out about 6
Yeah.
months ago, I think it was. Oh, that was pretty cool.
That was one of the community sets, the Lego Ideas thing. There's even some Elite stuff there too. But sadly, none of those have made it to sets yet.
Sadly not, no. But yeah, I mean, Lego is commemorating sort of Apollo in itself. A few people have got the, Lego Saturn V's and everything. And yeah, they look great.
Kerbal Space Program. I actually
no,
bought that
I
game yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Huh?
I think
I've had
someone
it for a
someone
while.
did a video where he recreated that exact journey with the mod that puts the real size planets in there.
Hmm.
I think we still have that in that channel I created. It's one of the first posts.
Yeah, probably somewhere deep in it. But I don't think he was the only one who did that.
Yeah, I can imagine.
There are lots of people. I found it already. You can post it in the chat. Go on.
I still have to
Alright,
watch it. I haven't watched it yet.
So, I want to point out that you guys do have your own Discord just for the mission, as well as the Mercury 7 Discord, And
Absolutely.
you guys keep inviting me to join all these things, and it's
Well, we're a
like,
friendly bunch of guys, don't you know?
it's like, who am I? I'm nobody. Why do you keep? Well, I keep saying that, and then it's like, checks.
Well, you're not no one. You've got this radio show. Yeah.
I think it was Nagi who. No, it wasn't Nagi. Who was it? Was it like Scalios who was like, Chank, you need to stop saying that. You just gotta stop.
It's true. I mean, think about it. I mean, this whole radio show and channel is not nothing. You're a pretty big part of that. So you're not
Yeah.
nobody. You know. I mean, you're also people point out who don't know this. Chank's actually still in the top 100 best explorers in terms of first discovery. So anyone who's in that, you can't say they're a nobody. You know, they're amongst like the elite,
I think he's
you
even
know,
top
elite
60.
explorers.
Oh, I'm almost in the top 50, but yeah.
Well, there you go. You know. So you're
and,
doubly not, you know, nobody.
No, that just means I don't have a life. I mean,
Well, you're big in this universe, maybe not in the other universe that we inhabit.
and I mean, like, I think it was just this week. At some point, I ticked over and got the "Did I leave the oven on?" badge over on EDSM, and there can't be more than like 30 or 40 people who have that. So
That's probably true, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, if I was sensible and actually done all this stuff in one account, I'd probably have it by now, but I wasn't, so I actually had more than one account, and therefore I don't, so yeah. You're right, but not many people have that, that is true. So, you know, you're not no one, definitely, but, you know.
But this isn't about me. This is about Apollo, which is obviously 50 years ago. The Apollo missions started, what was it, 55? How many years have they been running?
Depends when you start, really. I mean, do you mean about the first launch or when the actual program itself was started?
Well, I would say, when was the first Saturn V launch for Apollo? Was Apollo
Well,
1
the
a
first
Saturn?
manned one was 68.
Yeah. So yeah, first flight says AS-201,
Yeah, the unmanned one.
which was an unmanned test flight in 66.
Mhm.
The first crewed was in October, and that was Apollo 7 in 68.
That wasn't the Saturn V, though. That was the Saturn 1B, so it's a little bit
And
different.
that was still not a Saturn V. Yeah, so
So Apollo 8's the first Saturn V, and that's 68, so...
yeah.
So it's been a while, you know. Have you seen anyone actually been to the Kennedy Space Center and seen the Saturn V there?
Oh,
And if you
I
haven't,
actually
you must
have.
go. You absolutely must go. Whoever
It's-
is listening to this, definitely go if you get the chance. It's amazing.
I have been there. It's not the actual rocket. It's a mock-up, but they have it laying on the ground at the center, and it's just like, when you drive by it, you just drive and keep on driving and keep on driving, and then, like, you know, good 15 seconds later, you finally get to the other end of it. And it's just like, there it is. That's really what it was. Just a giant bomb, powerful enough to take out a massive city with 3 men sitting on top of it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
cool.
And all the crew servicing it as well. I mean, they were brave people. As you say, it was basically a bomb sitting there.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff, though. I think
Well,
out of
Yeah,
what
you,
you're talking
re-
about,
you
there is
really,
actually...
you really have to consider that, because there have been some missions where where it didn't go well. It definitely happened. So
Well, there's I mean, the Mercury tragedy was one of the worst, and then of course the Challenger, and you know, but I think it's also because of these things. Like, you can see progressively the increase in, well, at the time when the government was actually interested in funding these things, the increase in funding be like, no, keep doing it, but make it safer and make it work better. And that's how we came to where we are.
Yeah. I think most of those disasters were kind of preventable as well. That's the sad thing about it. Especially those shuttle ones. They were just, it was a case
No,
of just trying to push everything too quickly and trying to get as many flights in as possible and ignoring all the safety regs. Which is really sad because it was just completely unnecessary, you know. But, yeah, that's what
yeah,
happens sometimes.
and I mean the Mercury fire as well itself was an issue with wasn't it the oxygen filters or something inside the capsule?
I assume you're talking about the Apollo 1 flight. I don't think anyone died on Mercury, but you're right about the oxygen. That's the prime reason that the crew unfortunately died, was they were using oxygen at atmospheric pressures, and you should never do that. You know, talk like 100% oxygen, and it's like anyone knows anything about chemistry knows that that's just asking for trouble, because again, that's basically a bomb in itself.
Um, but the one thing we can say about the obviously all the tests of the rocketry systems is that there hasn't been there hasn't been a manned catastrophe related to the actual rockets, because obviously we've seen some spectacular failures from SpaceX with their rockets, and you know that in a heartbeat, those would have shut down so much progress.
It's a dangerous business. It always has been, I think, and I think even now it's probably safer than it was, but it's still never going to be safe unless we have like massive leap forwards in technology, which will hopefully come, you know, for safer methods of propulsion. Yeah, it's always going to be a risky game going into space.
I mean, we were talking with, or I was talking with Nagi and some other guys about the Kepler syndrome, and it's like, I mean, like I said, we're basically putting people up in giant aluminum tin cans, and there's stuff out there flying around at, you know,
Yeah, there's
just
so much orbital
ridiculous
debris.
velocities, and
Yeah.
I
No, that's
mean,
absolutely true.
that's been a problem pretty much since space flight started, and it's only really been kind of during the building of the ISS and during the shuttle era that people really started paying attention to it and being like, "Hey, this is a real thing. We need to figure out."
Yeah, that is the truth, isn't it? Is that there's so much orbital debris in low Earth orbit. I think a lot of people are monitoring. There's like thousands of large pieces up there, and they're all being individually tracked. It's quite a feat in itself, really. Yeah, but as you say, I
Yeah.
think there's people trying to investigate ways of trying to actually get hold of these things, literally with giant nets in some cases, which is, you know,
Oh,
intriguing. But you know,
yeah. There's I mean, there's the concept of the nets, the like magnetic hooks, and I think the one that I thought was the most interesting was like a kind of gel
Mhm.
where like you would basically have a thing covered in a gel, like a sheet or something, and as it would run into debris, it would hit the plate, but then just stick inside the gel, and then when it
Yeah,
would come down, it would obviously all burn up in the atmosphere.
Hmm.
it's an intriguing idea, isn't it? Like to see
So
how that would actually work. Yeah, well, that's cool.
I mean, that's something that's actually more important for like the smaller debris, which is we can talk about like panel like you know cover cover panels for electrical boxes or solar pieces of solar panels and arms and stuff out there that's substantially large. It's big, which means we can track it, but a lot of the biggest threat comes from literally just like lost nuts and bolts or wrenches and things flying out there, Mach 50. And
No, absolutely. As you say, even like something the size of a pea, if it hits you at, you know, thousands of miles an hour, it's going to cause a lot of damage.
Yeah. Got quite an interesting armor on the ISS for that. It's a double layered with space in between the layers. So the impact only affects the outer layer, not the inner one.
Oh yeah, that's they basically do the tank spall lining thing where it's literally like multiple layers with like gaps between them, and then just like I don't know what it is. If it's like a mesh of Kevlar, I have no idea what they're using. But yeah, there's
Something light,
multiple,
probably.
yeah, multiple layers where it will actually catch stuff in there, and the actual like tool arms are actually quite slender and small. But that's because they don't actually have to work against gravity to move things. They don't have to be these massively substantial cranes or anything like we
Absolutely.
use on Earth.
I think some of the ISS crew have said that every now and then they'll hear a sort of a ping or a sort of bang in the background, and it's these debris hitting the station. It must be quite
Yeah,
unnerving,
Oh,
especially the
jeez,
first time
that's
you
gotta
hear
be
that.
terrifying. Oh my god.
Because obviously, if it does something, depressurizes it. It's like if you can get to, Soyuz and get down, that's great. But what if you can't? It's an obvious question. It's like,
Wasn't that the fear with the Russian Soyuz depressurization, which they ended up finding out was actually a accidental drill hole? But they were paranoid. They were like, "This could have been made by just a bolt flying through space, but we don't know."
yeah.
And
Well, this is the thing. These are so many questions that have to be answered, and also stop littering in space in the first place. Okay, some debris is gonna happen, but it's just there's too much of it.
yeah,
But yeah, the
and of course,
polyhedron on these things.
that is the Kepler syndrome. One little piece hits a satellite, and then there's now 1,000 little pieces.
Yeah, that's the worry. Yeah. But
I
yeah,
mean,
it's
yeah, I mean, estimates are all over the place because it's really hard to understand. There were people saying that like anywhere between 2030 and 2200, we literally will not even be able to fly into space if we don't take care of it now.
yeah. I think at the moment the main thing is just trying to stop more stuff from going up there into these tiny little pieces. Obviously, if they're bigger bits, they're easier to track and avoid. So that's the
Yeah.
thing. I mean, I think one of the worst examples was I think there was a Chinese detonation of a satellite they're doing for like an anti-satellite missile, and it caused so much debris. Apparently, it was like overloading some of the tracking sorts of radars and things for this. It was just that, and a lot of other the space powers were complaining. It's like, why did you do that? You just caused so much more space debris than there already was. And that's just this one test as well. I haven't done it since, thankfully. So, but it's stuff like that. It just doesn't help things. Yeah. Strange business. Very strange.
I got an idea, but I don't know how well that would work, or if it's possible at all. Couldn't you just try to put magnets on the outside that would repel any metal parts that might get close to it, or are those all made of non-magnetic metals?
Well, not
There's a
everything
lot
is
of
ferric.
aluminium out there.
Yeah, not everything is ferric, but obviously also you're not likely to have a powerful enough magnet to repel or even attract anything because stuff is moving so quick. It's like that the goofy YouTube videos you see of being like we set up 500 magnets. Can it stop a bullet? It's like no, no, it can't.
Good luck with that. Yeah.
Okay, it was just a thought.
No, it's a fair thought, and I can understand where you're coming from on that. But yeah, I think Shank might be right. A lot of these metals probably aren't magnetic, and there's a lot of titanium and aluminium. And no, aluminium's not going to be
Yeah,
sort of
well,
ferromagnetic, is it?
And of course the debris, like you said, it's mostly the small pieces and things that are a threat. So it could even be a chunk of just like, styrofoam that is part of your, your intended just destructive ablation plate on top of the actual plate itself. Like a panel of that falls off or something, or a chunk of it flies off, and now you have this ballistic piece of styrofoam moving at a couple thousand kilometers a second or whatever.
Well, that's just it, isn't it? It's the speed it's moving, as you say, that even something that's inconsequential can cause huge damage when it's moving fast.
Oh yeah, I mean that was the thing that I can't remember who it was who brought it up, but we were talking specifically about the kinetic energy of stuff, and they were like, it's not the mass, it's the fact that velocities in space are just so high relative to other objects.
But
If you have to shoot something into orbit, it has to be fast.
I think this is where also reusable spacecraft come in. The more reusable something is, less likely there's to be bits of it up there flying around. Obviously, things like the shuttle was an early reusable vehicle, and SpaceX now as well is going down that road, and hopefully more and more stuff will be reusable. Yeah.
That was actually a big restriction by not the Air Force, but the U.S. flight agency that handles all that stuff, because they technically also include space as air. But like, you know, they were basically telling, you know, Elon Musk at SpaceX and Jeff Bezos over at what's that one?
Blue Origin.
Air Origin or what? Yeah, and they were like, you know, anything you send up has to come down. You can't leave anything up there.
It's a good thing, isn't it? Yeah, it has to be done that way. It's the way of the future, I think, isn't it? I mean, there's something very almost sci-fi looking about space, especially when they have the dual boosters landing simultaneously together. I mean, the first time I saw that, I thought that does look so sci-fi.
That's still like, I remember watching that live, and it was just like, I should be going to sleep right now, but whatever. And it's just like, it didn't look real, because it's just it looks like it looks like something out of a sci-fi game from, you know, the 90s or whatever, and you're like, no, that's really happened. That's reality. I'm living in this timeline. This is actually happening.
Well, this is the way of science fiction. Though science fiction people write something and then decades later it happens. You know, it's an amazing thing. It's like those early Apollo astronauts, all the ones that went to the moon. They never thought they'd do. A lot of them were sci-fi fans as children, reading it in books and comics and things.
Just think of all the things. Think of all the things that Star Trek predicted.
Yeah.
Starts with touch screens and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Obviously, just think of everything that Gene Roddenberry and Arthur C. Clarke predicted that are now a reality, or that something we're working towards.
Exactly.
Like,
obviously at different rates, because I don't think any of them predicted that computers would come so far so quickly, and maybe genetic engineering as well would come this far in this time. I think they all assumed that like spacecraft propulsion would get a lot better a lot quicker than it actually did, because we're still using relatively similar technologies to, you know, the early space pioneers. And yeah, not much has changed in that regard. You're still using either oxygen or hydrogen and oxygen to propel these things forward.
Well, yeah, it's one of the early rocket engineers who said, you know, I mean, like we talked about with the Saturn V, it's just rocket flight is just sitting on top of a controlled explosion.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
An explosion that just goes into one direction, basically.
Exactly, a very controlled explosion.
In the direction.
Well, it's not even one direction anymore. I mean, we've got the technology of gimbaled thruster nozzles and all this stuff now. Which, I mean, I'm sure that like the original Apollo astronauts were just looking at this stuff like, holy crap! I wish we had that.
Actually, to be fair, they did have gimbal. It wasn't designed to come back. That's all. That wasn't part of the mission parameters. But they had gimbal nozzles on them, even at that point.
Phantom
so you learn
XT,
something new every day.
Phantom XT just said, hopefully one of the Voyagers doesn't come back with destructive intent.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. But it's like, of all the present days like out there, because it's reusable and the fact they will do these amazing landings, you see it happen in front of your eyes, live online. It just sort of does actually gives me artists in like, yeah, we can still do amazing things, and maybe we can dig ourselves out of the hole we're in as a species, you know. But yeah, fingers crossed.
I think we should talk a bit more about the actual expedition.
Yeah.
Not just
Maybe we
Apollo.
should-
It would help.
Maybe we should back up to the expedition. So tomorrow you have an event
Yes.
going, but that's not the actual start. So
No.
what is tomorrow? What is tomorrow's thing?
It's I call it a pre-launch meet. It's just one of those getting to know people who are on the expedition kind of meet up, just a casual sort of get together. It's like anyone who's going on the expedition who wants to meet up before the launch can come along. I think especially those people who've never been on an expedition before, it's probably a very good thing, and just so that you can sort of familiarize yourself with what you're doing and the people. Because some of the techniques even that much in the regular game, you like coordinate finding and speed and doing stupid stunts with them. Okay, you can do that normally, but most people probably don't. But yeah, well, then we launch a week after that, so it's this whole thing, because the actual anniversary date is on a Saturday. These things are usually quite Saturday centric, even though we do have some Sunday meets as well. It's quite in some ways it's a short. It's actually in some ways slightly intense, because it's like a launch on a Saturday, and then we've got a few meetups after that, and eventually it comes back round to the final meetup being on a Saturday as well. In some ways, the anniversary landing on a Saturday is actually quite a convenient thing, because it'd been annoying if it'd been, let's say, like Wednesday or something.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
They could have done it
at
on
least,
the day,
this year, it's not 2 years out where it would be on a Tuesday or something,
Exactly. That would have been annoying. But
also,
still,
the launch itself, but the expedition is not launching from the bubble itself.
No, it's just outside the bubble, isn't it? It's we'll be at the Witchhead Science Centre, which any of you who've been that way towards Witchhead Nebula is a mighty fine-looking. The many lovely nebulae that surround the bubble.
Yeah, that's actually what I was gonna ask you about. So you're not starting in the bubble. You're actually starting outside of it, out of Witchhead's research. What
slightly outside
territory-
the bubble.
What kind of territory are you going to be covering during your expedition? Because you also mentioned it's not going to be too strenuous or not.
No, I mean it's
too
only about
difficult,
6,000 light years from beginning to end, so it's 6,000 light years is not very much, even over 2-week period. So like 3,000 light years a week is not much really at all by an expedition standard. But the idea with this is is organised like a conventional expedition, but we're not really. Our prime aim is not really discovery. If we discover stuff on the way, that's wonderful. But because we're near the bubble, the odds of it are somewhat less. But the main idea is obviously to commemorate Apollo 11 in the best way we can, and have some fun and see some interesting places along the way. And obviously most of the waypoints are going to be or interesting stars or just interesting space phenomenon generally in a relatively near bubble space. We're ending up obviously a bit outside it, but not like radically far outside the bubble by the time everything's said and done.
And is there anything in there that you? I mean, obviously being the one to set this up, it's likely a lot of stuff you were just like, ooh, I like that. Ooh, I like that. But
There is a lot
anything-
of that. Yeah.
Is there anything in particular where you're just like, this is my crowning grace to the whole expedition that I really want people to experience?
The thing is, there's a few of those, so it's actually quite hard to pick because I deliberately picked very interesting places that weren't insanely far out of the way, and that would increase the expedition's length by a disproportionate amount. But yeah, there's a fair few. I mean, there's like the Robin's Egg Nebula, which is quite close to the start. It's actually the first waypoint after the launch. That's a remarkably beautiful place, but it's not really talked about very much. Because I heard people talk about exploration near the bubble, that's hardly ever mentioned. And to be fair, until fairly recently, I'd never really seen it properly. I just maybe gone by it or something, but never stopped in it or in a system nearby. So that's quite an intriguing one. and we were visiting other places that are quite well known, but also beautiful, like the Vale West Nebula, which definitely one of the best nebula in the game. And most people know this, except
Oh man, just that
Hmm?
purpley blue wave is
that's the one. Yeah,
like
it's one of
I
those
just
things
know
that-
that I know that instantly. It's like, oh, it's so gorgeous.
yeah, we had to go there. This is the thing; it just demanded that we go there. You know, it's a great place, but finally, I mean, the sort of the idea, apart from seeing beautiful places, was to try and find a system that actually, as closely as possible, resembles like the Earth-Moon system, as it were, as in like the system of the Earth and the Moon together. Because not many places are like that. Obviously, we'd have loved to have used the actual Sol, Earth, and Moon to be in the expedition, but unfortunately, we can't actually land on the Earth's moon in the game, as
Yeah,
everyone
there's,
knows. So that was my
well-
first choice, but then that is not going to be possible. So I thought we could orbit it, but it wouldn't be the same. We want to actually land and do the things
Yeah.
expeditions do on planets. You know, have events and have fun, and so it's sort of, you know, it's the obvious thing to do would have been to gone to Seoul, but not everyone has the Seoul permit. So I think that kind of rules out
say,
one
the
on the
other thing is
begin.
the permit. Yeah, that permit is a big block for a lot of people.
I wouldn't even be able to go. Not yet.
You're going your alternate account, that's why, isn't it? I think sure your main one's got the Soul permit,
No.
but you're right, a lot of people don't have the Soul
Not
permit.
even my main.
Oh, really?
I just-
Okay.
I completely said "fuck you, Federation" on my main.
Fair
I
enough.
went purely Empire.
Yeah, I just assumed that most people, after a period of time, just got it because they wanted to go to Seoul and have a look around. But if you've never actually done that, it's a very, very good replica in the Seoul system. But yeah, landing on the actual Earth moon would have been the best thing, and I would have definitely ended it there if I could have done. But I don't think that's going to happen. So, because Frontier have not even hinted at that being a sort of thing will happen in the near future. I think they mentioned it sometime maybe many years ago, probably in the first few years of the game's existence, that they did intend to have an accurate replica of the moon with all the landing sites and everything of Apollo and stuff. But the problem is they've not actually released it yet, and I don't know how far development's got because we've not had any statements on them in this regard. So your guess is as good as mine. It's a shame for the anniversary they didn't turn up, but yeah, it's we have to do the best we can otherwise, and I've just looked for an alternative where we can sort of simulate that. And here we are.
I've got to say, one tragedy about that with the Stellar Forge is a lot of people may not know this if they haven't done too much exploring, but there are specifically Moony moons. They are moons built by the Stellar Forge based off of the moon that we know. So it's gray. It's mostly like iron and silicon and all this stuff, but like, you can't land on those moons either, even though they also have no atmosphere. Because they use the same model, they also use the same restrictions. So
It's sad, really, isn't it?
so you'll go out and you'll see this beautiful gray moon, and you're like, oh, I want to land. Oh, I can't.
By the way, what really interesting is there's two bodies without atmosphere in Seoul that you cannot land on. One of them is Triton. It is permit locked. And the other is, of course, the
Yeah.
moon. And the moon is not permit locked. It's just not landable. They
Yeah.
just made it not landable.
Yeah. I mean, the Triton permit lock is a mystery to everyone, but as you say, the moon. I don't think anyone. I don't expect it to be perfect, but it would have been great to had it open, of course. But yeah, you're right. That's the frustrating thing. You get the
that's
sole
really
permit, and you
weird.
find these things.
Why does Triton have a permit lock, but the moon just is unlandable?
Well-
That kind of implies that there is some way to obtain that permit.
Oh,
See,
I
it
think
would have
I.
been it would have
I
been
think I
interesting if
Googled
it had
it.
been. It would have been interesting if it had been Europa, because then that obviously would have been a Space Odyssey reference. All these worlds are yours except Europa. That would have been solid. But Triton is questionable.
I agree. Yeah. But still, it is what it is, and we have to work with the tools that we have, and that's the way it's going. It's the solar system, is genuinely beautiful, but it's not the place that we can really use for the expedition, sadly. And yeah, that's I try to like think to the positive though, rather than go that. But it would be interesting. I think. Yeah, I wonder what Frontier's plans are actually for the moon. You say that it's one of those things that's probably someone at sort of LaveCon can probably corner a dev and ask them or something. It's like, well, what do you actually plan? Are there any plans anytime soon? Give them a few drinks first. Give them a chance.
Yeah, it would be interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Phantom says Triton apparently has something to do with lore.
Triton.
I'm not into that particular one. Children of Raxxla might know more.
It's nothing obvious I can
jeez.
think of about the lore of Elite in that regard, but maybe
There's
someone knows something
nothing on
about
the wiki about it.
Oh, we've
Nothing
got
on the-
Beer Terminal here, what the hell?
I remember in the early Elites, I mean, they're talking about, Frontier First Encounters and Frontier Elite 2, you could land on the moon, and there was such thing called an Apollonis City, which was the site of the Apollo 11 landing. And they built a city around the remains of the lander and like encased it in like a dome for everyone to see as a historical monument. But that's why I was surprised when Elite Dangerous came out, they didn't do the same thing. But it was they obviously went
I
down a
heard
different road.
they really wanted to model the moon properly, and they haven't just gotten to that yet.
Yeah. It should be quite easy to model like an airless body like that, considering they've got quite a lot of experience in it.
Yeah, but if
already
you
with the
consider
skeletal
all the different terrain that is on there, that you can actually see with even a small telescope.
Yeah,
And I kind of want to get
we have,
that
we,
right.
we have to remember that the Sol system in Elite is like the one system that was meticulously crafted, planet by planet, to make accurate surfaces and everything to what we know and what we visually recognize currently. Well, except for Mars, of course, being terraformed, which looks beautiful but kind of surreal at the same time.
No, that's true. There's a sort of orange tinge to it, isn't it? As Terraform world might look if it happened, but none of the other Terraform worlds on Elite look like that, which is kind of funny.
Huh.
They don't look any different.
Maybe-
Actually. The Terraform world look exactly the same.
Maybe the technology just improved.
Yeah,
Possibly.
we gotta ask Turchin for that, because as we all know, Starstone Industries did it.
That's true. That's true. Turgid knows
Yeah.
all these things. The great Starstone secrets. Yeah, I'm sure he knows.
So yeah, we've talked about the
Oh,
rounds.
beautiful! You're going to HIP 102082. That's a beautiful one.
Yeah, it's
Sorry. I'm actually reading
It's okay.
the expedition
Yeah.
locations,
That's
and
fine.
that's a
that
fantastic
Was
one
that
because
HIP
it's got that
102?
landable.
a waypoint 6.
102. Just say the last three numbers.
102082.
08.
It's a carbon star itself, but it also has a is it a brown white dwarf or L
Seems so.
dwarf with a very near orbiting body to land on.
Yes. It's a very
So,
spectacular place if you want to touch
It's-
down on
Yeah. I mean, the carbon star is nice and all as well. It's but that landable is definitely makes it. It just makes it.
Yeah, it is an amazing view from the surface. It's just there and it just takes up most of the sky and it's quite amazing.
Well, yeah, Nagi and most of the regular radio listeners know that if Heavy Johnson is out there listening, he knows I have a fascination and kind of a love
I think he's
love
asleep.
interest with near. I don't know what to call them. I always call them proximals, so I just mean the bodies that are really really close. but like landable proximals, so like a landable body that's like 1 light second or less from the actual surface of a star is because then it just fills your screen, it fills your canopy while you're on the planet's surface. It's just getting to see that is an experience.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's either those smaller stars really close or the supergiants with a planet that's orbiting, because I'm trying to think which one it is out of the supergiants that are sort of near the bubble, but it has a planet orbiting fairly close around it.
There's a Betelgeuse or something where it's
It probably
quite
is,
far
isn't
away.
it? Yeah.
It's quite far. The landable's quite far away, but because it's such a massive star, it still looks like it's right in your face.
Oh,
Yeah.
by
I
the
think that's
way,
probably the one I'm thinking.
earlier today someone posted a picture on Fleetcom. And when I saw it, I was like, what the hell? I'm just gonna give you a link, Cenk. It's something to look at. I just posted in chat also. And wait a minute. And our interviews channel. Cenk, just look at this.
Holy shit.
Is that a contact binary?
Look at the distances.
I think I saw that on Twitter.
The right one is over 1,000 light seconds away.
To quote Will Smith, that's hot. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
hot. Wow. That is massive. Holy.
I wonder if
Wow.
it is actually a contact binary, or is there any separation between those two?
Well, no,
I
the one
don't
one
know.
is 40. The Wolf Riot on the left it's an N Wolf Riot. It's 41 light seconds.
Oh, I
The
see
other
the angle.
super
Yeah, yeah.
giant behind it is 14,000 light seconds away.
Oh.
Oh, it's 14,000. Wow.
It says is that
No,
Oh,
that's
no,
1,000.
it's 11
I couldn't see
11
so well on my
11
screen.
excuse me, 1,000. I can't read these numbers.
No, that
Yeah,
says
it's hard. That's why I
1,097.
Yeah,
It was hard to read that a bit,
1,097.
yeah.
There we go.
Theoretically, if that thing is big enough, I still could be touching.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Amazing idea, isn't it? But yeah,
You
it is
can't tell from
fantastic.
that picture. Yeah. I don't know how far is that away from a bubble. Can someone check?
Oh, jeez, that's quite a ways.
It's I don't actually recognise, so it's
How much do I need? 81. Okay. Sorry, I need to buy tobacco.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Lysugio is out in the Formarian, so that's actually out near Beagle Point, technically.
okay. That's quite a
Ooh.
way then.
Oh, okay.
I could maybe try and visit that with my main account.
How far away are you?
I don't know. I'm just starting up Elite now. Haven't played in a while.
Oh, jeez, it's a Wolf
Oh,
Riot.
I can
Wolf
already
Riot
hear the
giant
party
with a
outside.
B1. Would that be? No, that's just a giant at 2A. But still, that's a big giant. Jeez.
That's- First switch to my main account again. Takes ages.
I still need to do some stuff with my alt that's going on the expedition. Still have to unlock Liz Rider and the prismatics. And I gotta do that
should
this weekend.
Should do some engineering too.
Yeah.
No, I need Liz Rider because she gives you the location of one of the Colonia engineers, and I want to live in Colonia with
Oh,
that
yeah.
account, so I need to do that.
Yeah, that's my plan too.
So want to go back to the expedition, but tomorrow, because we want to like announce this so anybody who's listening knows. Tomorrow you are having a meetup for both people who are. Is it specifically people who are already on the expedition, or do you also want to get people who might be interested and maybe kind of use that to motivate them to join you?
If they like, yeah. I mean, it's
Because
primarily.
it's not closed yet. You're still taking in
Oh,
people.
absolutely. We'll take people up until launch date. So, yeah, if anyone is interested, probably the best thing to do is actually pop along to Discord and ask questions if need be. But it's because obviously the main source for all this is on EDSM. That's where all the info is about Discord and where we're going and what we're doing. But yeah, if people are interested, please do that. And it's quick sign up process. There's nothing complicated about it. Just sign up to EDSM and the expedition section on that, and you can come along.
And tomorrow you're having your kind of meet and greet for everybody. Who
Yeah, I suppose that's a good way of putting it.
we are doing something interesting tomorrow. We are meeting in the Pomesh system. I don't know if that's pronounced correctly. You can see it
I think
here.
everyone
Yannick is
pronounces it
currently
that
there.
way. Yeah.
Yeah, on
I pronounce
planet.
it Pommersche, but sure.
Yeah.
However you pronounce it.
On planet 2C, it's one with
The
some
pretty
heavy
one.
canyons, and please bring SRVs for that. That's very important,
Yeah.
because we are gonna do something.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Nagi has invited me along for this in his crew, but I'm intentionally not watching the stream, so I have no idea what ship he's flying. And, I
I'm
guess I
currently
will
not
find that
not
out.
flying the ship that I will be using tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, he's
Cargo
keeping this a
snake.
secret from me.
Yeah, I'm
'Cause he
currently
was-
flying my cargo's Python, so I can deliver
Holy.
stuff to this outpost.
11 weeks, no station. My ship hasn't seen a station that long. Damn.
But yeah,
That's quite a while,
I have
yeah.
prepared a ship and a name and a paint job. Yeah, you.
And
I'm
apparently
curious
he's
to your
literally-
reaction.
he's literally done all this just to make me angry for some reason. I have no idea why. First of all, I don't know what he could possibly be flying that would actually upset me. But
That's a good question, actually.
I think it's more of a combination of things.
Oh, wait a minute. What have you put on the roster?
I'm not gonna look up any. I'm not gonna stalk him. I don't really care
I
that
haven't
much.
put up anything there. On the expedition, I will
Aw.
fly with my Asp Explorer on my alt account. Or Exquisite Focus Crystal. It's so tempting to grab them, but I need the reputation. Oh, that hurts. Mission rewards. Why?
Why would an Asp annoy Shank, though? I don't get this.
He's probably one of the very, very few people that will get what I will be doing.
Okay.
I don't think he's talking about an asp. If it is just
Okay.
an asp, I don't get why either.
No, it's
Is
not.
there
an
any shit that
asp.
really offends you that much, though? In all seriousness.
No, like the only things he could do would be to fly a Mamba, in which case I would just laugh at him for torturing himself.
Fair
No,
enough.
I wanted to buy a Mamba for speed bowling, which is also, if I might advertise that, a thing that I want to do on the actual expedition, because there's a very, very nice planet really close to our launch site. It's only 2 jumps for the average Asp Explorer. So it's so close that it doesn't really matter if you fuck it up and blow up. But yeah, that's some interesting thing that I want to do.
You know?
Okay, so
Speed bowling.
the blue giant is only 9,500 light years from me. But I doubt I could
jeez.
make that.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah, it's up to you
Good
what you
thing.
want to do in that.
Good thing is I didn't have to actually put it in the whole system name because practically what you
No,
go
like when
to.
I put it in, I just put in the region name, and it immediately went there because it's the most
Yeah.
massive object there.
Exactly.
Like I will say that's one interesting thing about the stellar the gal map search function. It didn't used to be
Oh,
like
man.
this, but like now when you go into search and you just type in a region, you don't even need to type in like AA-A or OO-O. Like you just type in the region name and it'll try to find you the biggest thing there. So if that's what you're looking for, just type the region name in, hit enter, and it'll try to drag you out there.
Yep.
It doesn't always do it, but generally that's kind of how it works, which is really nice.
Yep.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, in general, for those people who don't know that, each system has a kind of code to it, and that's for one the coordinates and a mass indicator. And the mass indicator is the last letter before the numbering, and it goes from
Yeah.
H, which is the heaviest, to I think D or C? No, C. I think
C. I've
C
seen C.
is the lowest mass.
Yeah.
And
D's are the most common. Your standard system is going to be a D. E's, and you pointed this out to me, Nagi. E-mass systems, while they might only have slightly more mass than a D system, they usually have very curious body configurations.
yeah, especially EMAS systems of A class and B class stars.
Hmm.
They
Yeah,
kind
so
of
like
have
that's where
weird
you get
things.
your you get your
Oh.
full series of giants with, you know, a dozen moons and weird giant binaries and all kinds of, you know, ammonia worlds orbiting water worlds and just crazy stuff like that.
So, back to that specific system name. You see that AA-A, that's basically the
Damn it.
coordinates inside that system sector. Or AA is the sector. No, Lysogeo is the sector, yeah. And AA-A are the coordinates. H is
yeah.
the mass indicator, and after that it's just pure numbering. So you can start with AA-A H0, then AA-8 H1, and so on and so on, and just click that arrow button all the time. So you basically step through each of those systems, and you can find quite some cool stuff with that.
I need to go around a permit locked sector.
Oh man!
And Kylie is
Oh, that's Blaya or Playa or something out there, right?
I don't know, just something is blocking the route.
Perhaps it's
I'll get to it
not
someday.
dense enough. That could also happen.
No, it is dense enough.
Yeah.
I think he's at the like the Playa 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bubble series. Because we had to get around that when we were on Distant Worlds 2, when we were going north.
Yeah, that's probably it. But I'm going east, no, west now.
East is on the right side. Left is on the left.
Yes, I know.
Left is left. Yeah, right. That makes sense. West is on the left side. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
I think that's the most German thing you've ever said, Nagi. Anyway. Okay, I'm curious about this. So obviously Yannick is running everything; he's operating it. Helium 7, what is your actual like leadership role? Are you just kind of a backup right hand man, or are you organizing events or doing anything special? in the
I don't know,
expedition
just-
yourself?
Just helping with everything really, instancing, and I did a small Google Sheet, so roster, and managing the channels, Discord channels, and yeah, that's basically it.
He
I'm
also
also-
greets
also
every
managing
member
the-
that joins the Discord.
Yeah, I carried that over from the CCN server.
And
So I'm managing EU and USA. So instances at both of those launches.
Yeah. We're hoping to get a North American sort of instance together,
Yeah.
focusing on that for a bit to see how many people are available, how many, if we can actually lead it properly because of the different time zones and what have you. But yeah, we'll soon know about that one way or the other.
and
This is always the
Nagi,
thing
what
with
are you-
expeditions, isn't it?
Nagi, what are you doing? Are you just are you kind of the war journalist from the radio there to
War
represent us?
I will also be hosting instances, and like I've mentioned,
Okay.
I will, for example, do that speedball event and some other stuff.
Yeah.
And I will just occasionally be making noise on the radio about you guys. So
Good.
That's good. Absolutely.
I will also do live stream on this channel again tomorrow during the meetup.
yeah,
Yeah, I
which,
will too,
both Helium and Nagi have offered me seats, but I think Nagi really wants me to be in his ship.
Okay, fair enough. Will you
I
be
do want to
open
see that
that?
myself.
And also a very nice thing about my ship is that we will be sitting right next to each other, which is kind of cool.
So the Python,
No.
Cobra.
I won't.
Good guessing
I
game
won't
now,
let
isn't
you
it?
go through the list of ships now that have that feature. There are quite a few of them.
Any or
Luckily.
Cutter maybe. Clipper. They're all sitting next to each other.
It's like Elite Guess Who, isn't it? You know.
I do actually, I do actually have an idea, and I said it earlier, but I was like, I probably shouldn't have said that because I don't want to spoil it. But
Okay.
I could be wrong. Nagi's very good at keeping secrets. So
Sometimes it's
That's why-
difficult to
that-
keep
that's why-
secrets.
that's why you can trust him. Nagi's really good at keeping secrets. It's like
Sometimes it's
Na-
really
Nagi-
hard.
Nagi knows all about Raxla, but he won't tell anybody. So
Yeah.
Oh, I've been constantly telling people about that, but they don't listen to me.
I don't think anyone believes.
Yeah, all of them think that I'm just joking. Really, it's because no one reacts to that, and I actually have it bookmarked. I can show it on stream. I have it.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
no, we talked with Truthsayer. We know where it is. We all have it bookmarked on the radio. Why don't you believe us?
So you see this bookmark. It says Raxlar question mark. I click on it, and you will see the system where I think it is.
Yes.
There you go.
I wonder if he's telling the truth or not. Oh, this one.
Hilarious. Right.
One thing I will say about Rex, I don't believe anyone in the game, if they really knew, would actually not, take the credit for it. But or maybe you are. Maybe it's a double bluff.
Actually,
Interesting.
I actually have a theory how you can access that system, and you need to be triple elite for that. That's the thing. Not many people have triple elite, so there are quite a few of them actually.
I'm actually surprised you would show it on the stream, but yeah, nobody believes us.
I feel like
You know, that's-
We're
that's-
literally,
If you think about
like,
it, that's the only-
I can tell you, we're literally all in agreement, but nobody believes us.
there is a pretty good reason why it should be either this system or one of the others. Because you would think that someone in all those years must have found it by now. The only reason
But what
that it
is it, though?
hasn't been found yet is because it is in a permit-locked system and nobody has figured out how to get in there.
But what is it though? This is the key question. What actually is it? Because we don't know what we're looking for.
It
So
is a
therefore, how do you
planet.
know what it
Well,
is?
so yeah, so you're
you're-
not watching on the stream. Polaris.
Yeah.
That's been
Whatever.
the
We all-
long-held theory of that one. It could
We
be a
all
permit
think
system.
we all think it's Polaris over on the radio.
Also, there's another thing
Okay.
I want to show you in regards to that. First of all, when you type in waypoint, you will get a system. Sirius. Because there's a planet called Waypoint. And also there's a planet called Lucifer, that's another story. And
What?
there's another thing in the Elioth system. Which one was it? There's also another named planet. Bifrost. That
Bifrost.
magical bridge from the Norse
Okay.
mythology. That's another hint. Right there. Because all the other gas giants are just labeled Elioth 1, Elioth 2, Elioth 3, Elioth 5. There's a high metal content word in between. And then there's Bifrost. So, why?
Bifrost.
Yeah.
Or I
But,
think
yeah.
they say Bifrost. Frost. Like with an Ö.
No idea.
Well, we'd have to get Henka in here, you know.
Yeah.
Get,
So that's another thing. And of course all the moons are named. But yeah. And if you've read some of the Children of Rexler documents, they actually link the Alliance and the Sirius Corporation together in some kind. So I
Yeah,
think
the
there definitely
Sirius-
is a
this-
connection.
well, the Sirius Corp also has some tentative links to the Dark Wheel. So
They have a lot of links actually, and it's quite scary.
fingers
design
in a lot
as
of pies
confusing
over
as
there.
possible.
It's Sirius.
Yep.
It's one of those
Uh,
mysteries we'll probably never find it. Or like the last day of the game's existence in years' time, it'll be like, this is where it was all along, ladies and gentlemen. And then everyone,
Yeah.
some people who, someone is going to have gone through a system at some point and not noticed it. But then again, what is it? This is the key question: is how would you know if you even saw it?
Well,
Could
it
you be
must
looking
be a
it right in
planet
the face and
as
never know?
it's been described as a planet, so I'm pretty sure it is a planet. Also, there's another
Yeah.
thing, and that is actually from the Codex, and it's really interesting. If you go to Knowledge Base and the Dark Wheel, it says something about a dark station somewhere. Yeah. Original group was based in a disused starport orbiting the 8th moon of an unnamed gas giant. The station was toroid, hence wheel, operated with a minimal power output, so as to avoid detection, hence dark. Where is it? Somewhere in this
Nobody
text,
knows.
it says that it can't be detected by any sort of scanner. So you have to find it manually. And people are now searching for that station. There's a thread
How would you
about that. on the
search for
forums. And you
that?
can see a weird screenshot right here, which people think is that exact same station, and it shows a star that is really, really close, or really big. Either one of them.
That's always the problem with the photos in Elite is, well, is that really are you right on top of it, or is it just really big? And like, I mean, I've got photos of, you know, like super massive giants, you know, and they're binary, and it's like I'm at a binary, and I'm, you know, let's say 20 light seconds from the actual binary star, but I'm 3,000 light seconds from the main star, and it's still bigger. And it's just like you can't you can't show that scale in a photo. Like you can see it in your canopy when you can actually see the numbers, but like, if I showed somebody a photo of something, they're just like, okay, it's 2 stars. I'm like, yeah, but that one's really far away.
Funny thing is, this mission can
I mean-
pay me, what are they called? Modular terminals, which are needed for an engineer unlock, and you can only get them by missions, and people are desperate to find one of those missions, and I just get them. Also with the exquisite focus crystals. Just a few minutes ago. And I can't take them because I need the reputation. It's so bad. You get all the cool stuff when you don't need it, and when you need it, you won't get it. Murphy's Law.
So often the way. Yep.
Why does everything have to be behind star? Just want to scan the place.
Yeah. Well, the game mechanic's always been that way, I'm afraid.
I usually like to just point 90 degrees up from the orbital plane, and then that should work. Fly a
Well, I
bit.
mean, that's the best. Like, especially if you've been flying long enough, you can pop in and you're like, oh, there's the star. There's a light off to the side. I need to turn this direction and fly for about 10 seconds, and then I can see the whole system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I once had a planet that had a 90 degrees orbital inclination, so that was really hard to find.
Oh, that's so
Oh,
fun when you
the-
got a planet like that and you only got one star in the system and it's so off the orbital plane and you just spend hours trying to find it.
No, there were plenty of other planets at least, but I didn't expect it there.
I had that a few times and was like, oh my god, where are you hiding? Because the bad thing about FSS is when you move around the camera, your field
It
of view
rotates and
is
twists.
rotating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad that they don't have the zoom thing anymore where it centers on the most massive object. I'm glad they got rid of that again. But the rotation in FSS is still quite annoying because, like, you can just sit there and, like, if you just even, like, slip and nudge your controls too far, suddenly you have no idea where your orientation is anymore.
Yep.
Yeah. Recently,
But,
did someone try to actually get Frontier to roll back to the old system? And they said they definitely weren't going to do that. Not that I'm advocating that myself. I just thought it was an interesting sort of, approach, or for people to give them the choice to revert to the old system if they wanted to.
Well,
Nah.
I kind of like I've always suggested, and I did this during the beta. I was like, why don't they still have it so that when you honk a system, okay, you scan the stars, but you still get the system map, but then you can either explore it through the FSS, or you can explore it by flying to it manually, because then a lot of people who are just out there for money or looking for specific things could save time and not be like, I have to scan every single body, or I have to learn how the radar works to figure out if I'm scanning an Earth-like or a water world or anything like that. They could just see it on the map and then go to it.
I mean, in the FSS, in the bottom right corner, it shows you what kind of signal you're getting.
You figure it out pretty quickly, but it's still a little bit frustrating that you can't just see the entire system map visually right away.
Yeah.
I think we just got used to seeing it that way for a long time. I think on the new one, it adds a bit of mystery, but as you say, you can't really do anything in a hurry. You can tell, looking at the overall system, sort of scan, what approximately you've got, but as you say, it does take a little bit longer.
Actually, what I think they should have done is keeping both sort of in, and you just pick which type of scanner you want to take with you. But you can only choose one of them.
Yeah. think that's what these
That'll be
people were trying to
interesting.
advocate for, as far as I was aware.
Yeah. By the way, Cenk, I've got a question for you.
No, this isn't about me.
Yeah, just this one. It's kind of important. Did you leave the oven on?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not gonna know for a long time until I get back.
Well, I can try checking. Give me a sec.
I will say that I might actually have to travel back somewhere because there
Oh,
is
can you just
the
take me to the
new
system? Okay.
there is the new Interstellar Initiative. Do you know about this, Yannick and Helium?
Yep.
I
do.
saw the video recently about the exploration one that just came up.
So I just saw the video and I got to report it on the radio like literally minutes after it came out. And I got to watch it during while I was playing music, and then on my next break talk about it and be like, basically, there's a new Interstellar Initiative. There's this thing going on with exploration. They're trying to get data for Aegis, looking for new meta alloy sites because we've basically over-farmed what exists. But there's two parts to that. So there's the expanded expedition information, which apparently actually just selling exploration data is going to be a part of. But then the other one is that they Will mentioned, I think we're on a first name basis at this point, me and Will, you know, and
Bento looks fine, by the way. Nothing burning
but
there.
he mentioned that you know, the Thargoids have become aware of our use of meta alloys,
I thought that's the whole reason they attack us, anyways.
but they are not appreciative of us basically stealing from their farm. We are Peter Rabbit to their farmer. What's his name? You know,
I know who
like,
you mean, yeah.
yeah, like we. It's not even that we're harming them. It's just that we're a nuisance because we're stealing their shit. We're eating their carrots, and they just don't. They won't have that. So, so there were hints that there could be an expansion on the types of Thargoid enemies out there, or even just Thargoids in general. Some people are actually hoping for friendly, or at least neutral.
When you actually go into the lore that also Drew Vega helped creating,
Yeah.
if that is actually canon, and I don't know how far FDev goes with that, but there should be two different Thargoid factions that are fighting each other, and one of them is
Yeah, that's
trying to
true,
use us as a meat shield, basically.
That is
I
right.
really
yeah.
want a mothership though, like a big Fargate
Oh
mothership.
yeah.
I still hope those bases are actually just the mud buried beneath the ground.
Oh yeah, I also think that
Just being built.
the bases are the motherships just buried, like
And
the
suddenly
Wraith,
someone sees them
the Wraith
coming out.
motherships in Stargate
Well,
Atlantis.
Well, I mean,
Oh,
you could
yeah.
have it could actually be both. Like
Or the ring and the
you
expanse.
could have
That
the
would be cool.
the bases that obviously you can drive around inside and explore are one type of mothership, and then the meta alloy farms are themselves a buried ship.
Oh.
I've
That
heard
would look
one as
weird,
well,
though.
yeah. It's an
Like just
intriguing idea.
and remember how massive some of these meta alloy sites are. They're, you know, 2 to 3 kilometers across. Just imagine that's actually a kilometer deep and just buried underneath the
Well,
ground.
it makes
flying
sense.
in
We've got megaships that are bigger than that, so
I can't remember who it was. I don't think it was David Brain, but it might have actually been one of the former producers of Elite who moved on. Actually said that, or hinted at, that the meta alloys that are producing barnacles were part of a much larger structure underground, like a massive, like kilometers across sort of structure. So it wouldn't be the first time that's come out. I don't know if this is actually canon or not, but that definitely has been said from Frontier.
What?
What?
I just
Basically,
got the message.
yes to what you were just saying, basically.
No, I just got the message hull integrity compromised when I dropped into a glide for some
Oh
reason.
no!
What? I still have 100% hull, so
Okay.
That's
That's
not
weird.
okay. Something's wrong.
should turn on my shield anyways.
Well, that's kind of like the message I always get, you know, after flying neutrons for long enough, the computer itself gets confused, and it's like, you are under attack. Hull integrity has been compromised. It's like, what is
Yeah,
attacking me? Oh, that's right. Space is attacking me. Space is trying to kill me.
And it
I
also
forgot.
says hazardous
For
substance.
just a brief moment, I forgot. Space wanted me dead.
Hazardous substance detected is my favorite on that one.
Oh, that's
Oh,
the
yeah.
other the other neutron one. It's hazardous substance detected. Yeah.
I had that one, and it
Oh,
did not
yeah.
end well. Found a huge mountain range here in the middle of nowhere.
Oh yeah, there's
Yeah.
Maya's mountain. And there's of
Oh
course this
jeez,
one.
yeah. I still love that thing. I know that people are like, what is it? Neverest is still taller, but way out there in the middle of nothing, that one is still fascinating because it really does reach right all the way up to the canopy, and you can like if you actually drive an SRV up it, which takes over an hour, like the ground starts to get really confused because it can't render because it thinks you're in space even though you're on the ground at the top of the mountain, and it just gets all kinds of wonky and weird.
So the mountain
But I love it.
is-
I love it. It's one of my favorite sites out there near Beagle.
I always forget which planet it was. Is it this one?
Oh, I've got that one perma bookmarked.
Can you
That's,
just take a look at Screen Shank? Is it that one?
Sikia VZM, is that right?
It's definitely the right system. What isn't that planet? I mean, it
so
does have that.
6
notable
kilometers.
Yeah, it's Sikia
Yeah.
VZM here. It's it says it's tagged by Wayland, but
Yeah.
Maya's the actual one who found
Yeah.
it.
Maya has another
like-
tag, and
Like,
and
you
meanwhile,
can literally-
I
you can
also
literally
have a
just-
few tags there because of FSS. I'm sorry.
like, you can just rotate the planet around and eventually see the mountain. It's so massive that even on the system map, it shows up.
Yeah, it's a different one. Yeah. Yeah, it's this one. It must be that.
It's
Let me find it. Ah, there we go. Yeah. Where I have my mouse cursor?
Oh damn.
it's the first gray planet around the blue giant,
Yeah, yeah.
the first moon.
That must be a volcano. of
No,
sorts.
not
But,
the
yeah.
the gray. Yeah,
What? Grey one?
you can just zoom in on it, and eventually you'll find it. Yep, there it is.
Wait, how much delay have you got?
About 20 seconds, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, hey.
But anyway,
You
I'm
also
doing
should
alright.
have a tag here somewhere. Ah, there you are.
wait, where do I have a tag?
Okay, there we
The
go.
last one.
I don't remember that at all.
It looks a bit like a DC mass tag system, but only a few people got
Only
multiple
kind of.
bodies. Yeah, it's weird.
And it's like I said, Maya's the one who actually found it, so he's got the EDSM credit. So But we're not talking about finding new stuff. A lot of stuff you're looking for or going through is heavily traveled. But I will say, because I know you're going out to the West Vale, there is a lot of empty, untraveled space out there that people don't know about. Like,
This is
Yep.
true, yeah.
people think that there's like everything. Like, people forget that within the bubble itself, there are systems that have not been visited in 5 years.
Which
they're
is
just
extraordinary if
there.
you think about it, yeah.
So
It's
you
just
know,
so huge.
going a couple thousand light years outside the bubble, there's going to be lots of stuff out there for people to find and experience for the first time. On top of
But this is it,
the
yeah.
expedition you're doing, so. And
Well, also-
as I look at the path, I really think this is definitely something fantastic for, especially new players or just new explorers, to kind of get them into the groove and feel an understanding of what exploring is. You know, don't
Oh,
be like me and make your first expedition a year-long circumnavigation of the galaxy.
That was quite bold, to be honest. I don't think I've heard of anyone starting out
Yeah.
doing that, you know. Distant Worlds, I've heard of people did the first Distant Worlds as their first one, or the second one, for that matter. But yeah, I never heard of anyone did like a circumnavigation as the first one. That's pretty extreme. I mean, in some ways, kudos to you, but also it's like,
That's
are
Cheng
you
for
really
ya.
sure this is a good idea? Exactly.
To be honest,
Well, I mean,
I would have also joined it if I wasn't late, because they were already away for 3 months before I actually got into the game that much, that I even knew expeditions are a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, and people think that like I'm just like some ridiculously hardcore, crazy, explorer, and it's like I told Henka and Macross, they're the guys who organized it. It's like, no, I joined Dead End Circumnavigation as a joke.
Really?
It was a joke because a friend of mine was just like, "Hey, you kind of like this game. What about this expedition? Ha ha! Wouldn't that be funny?" And then that was a year of my life, and I don't know where it went. It's just gone.
Probably behind the fridge if you look for it.
And halfway through he met me, and things
it's
went
weird.
all downhill from there.
Oh, jeez, yeah, that was the moment. Oh my goodness. Oof. What was that? May 15th, 3304. Oh man, I'll never forget the day.
Still remember.
Probably deserves some kind of special medal for doing that. It's like the first sort of rookie explorer to go on a circumnavigation. It's something you do not do that as your first trip.
I wasn't a rook. I mean, I've been in the game since before Horizons, but I just never played. I never flew seriously, and it was literally just that year because I had gotten a new computer that I was like, hey, I can actually finally play this game on these ultimate settings, and I'm gonna start doing this stuff and exploring. And I went out to the Formidine, basically following the actual Formidine Rift story. Even though I wasn't part of it, I was, 1,000 light years behind everyone. And and then from there, I was just kind of like, and I just started just hanging out in the Formidine and out in that region, just exploring in my Type 6. And then that's when my friend was like, hey, I see you're playing this game a lot. Wouldn't you like to join this thing? Haha, wouldn't that be funny? And and now here I am.
Yeah, and here we are. I mean, to be fair, the Type 6 is a pretty good exploration vessel for your first
Oh.
timer or someone who's not been exploring for very long. It's nice and cheap, and it's got a pretty good range. So, that was a good
That's
choice.
like people talk about, if you want to explore, you got to get yourself an Asp Explorer or something, and it's just like, no, when you're starting the game, work your way up to your Hauler or your Cobra, get your first 10 million, and then go spend 6 of it on a Type 6, and you can pretty much go anywhere in the galaxy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I knew that back then.
Like, that's all it is. It's a 6 million credit ship that can literally take you pretty much anywhere in the galaxy.
Well, for
And the
some
first
reason,
I went to-
I'm upset about the fact that Type 6 counts as a medium-sized ship. I don't know why.
I know why. It's because it's not small, and I know why that bothers you. But that's a secret. We're not supposed to talk about that, remember? You're the one who literally told us we're not supposed to talk about that. He's got very quiet. He's like, wait, yeah, I am the one who said that. Shit.
I'm intrigued now. The plot thickens.
However, I will say for small ships, everyone still talks about the Scout. No, the Orca. The Orca is the king of small ship explorers now.
You mean
Isn't Orca
Dolphin?
also?
Or Dolphin, excuse me,
Yeah.
yeah. No, it's basically, since Saud Kruger had their restrictions lifted on their passenger slots, and because of the new extra size 1 slot for your DSS, the Dolphin is the king for small ship explorers if you're building a small ship.
I mean, all I can do the same thing. It's just a lot cheaper and a lot smaller.
Oh, I mean, yeah, haulers, adders, great ships. Obviously everyone's gonna be like, oh, the DBX is that small one, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it is.
But it's like, yeah, you can get range out of that, but you can't get
Nothing else.
like you can't carry your AFMU and your repair limpets and your SRV and your Guardian booster and your DSS. Like, you can have all of your toys in a Dolphin. All
That's
your
true,
exploration toys are available in a Dolphin. And so that's why I say, it's maybe not the king of getting there the fastest as a small ship, but as a decent explorer, it's the most comfortable ride you're going to have.
It's also, for someone who hasn't played the game that long, it's actually one of the most forgiving to fly and the most fun to fly ships, probably in the entire game, actually.
Oh, well, yeah, Saud Kruger is like that, because in both normal space and Super Cruise,
By the way,
those things turn on a dime.
when you mentioned the Dolphin like that, that was actually the ship that I went outside the bubble with for the first time. I've written a wall of text in our meet and greet channel we got on Apollo 11. Where I told that story. It's one of the VIP passenger missions too. I still got the bookmark of it. It's in German though, but the translation is radioactive green. Let's just grab that one. I didn't know where I was going when I took that mission basically, and I only had an intermediate, or was it a basic discovery scanner?
Oh god.
And I only knew it was the 4th planet of the system and roughly how far it was away. And I had to find it manually. And I managed to pull that off. Yeah.
Oh, geez. I actually remember when I first started flying and playing in the game, and just not being able to afford that advanced discovery scanner and going out with a basic, and literally just learning to fly in Super Cruise, and then watch dots of light moving across the background, and then just knowing, okay, that's a planet, fly towards it. Like, I've actually done videos of being like, this is what exploration used to be like, kids. We would fly around in Super Cruise and look for moving dots.
Yep.
True.
A good thing
Yeah,
was,
that's the way it
though,
was.
I quickly discovered the 3rd planet of that system by accident, so I knew I just had to circle that orbit a bit further out, and then I found it relatively quickly, actually. So it wasn't that bad. But still, when you get there and you couldn't see anything on the system, and I was like, oh my god, how am I supposed to find this?
Yeah. That's the point. Ultimately, you can explore in, almost anything, really. It's going to be harder, obviously, the less range you've got and less equipment. But, you can start with anything. You don't have to have, go to Beagle Point just because it's your first trip. But just, start small and work your way up.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
anything,
we should tell people where on the planet we're meeting. A lot of people are asking already. Third one
I've already
already.
told some of them. It's like,
The best thing to
because
tell
obviously,
them would
I'm here at the
be
moment.
just to wait for me to get there and just drop on my wing signal, because that's the most easiest.
Yeah.
Oh,
Then not
so
many
you're-
people will be familiar with finding specific coordinates on a planet.
Oh, you're going
That's
old
true.
school. You're going coordinates. You're not using geosites or anything like
We
that.
no geosites on this planet, so we're going to, so that we don't have any choice.
There is a beacon,
Oh.
as he said just now.
Just one.
Yeah, but I doubt
There's
that
two
beacon is
beacons.
in
Sites that are
the
close together.
location that we will be using, so...
Honestly, you know what? I think you should do that for the expedition. Just keep it that way. Just like
Well, I
old
have
school
something
it.
planned,
Just
so...
do it. Like you know, unless you're specifically going for something like geyser jumping or something like that, just be like, hey, these are the coordinates. Find them. Good luck.
Good luck.
Yeah, there's going to
Yeah,
be some
no.
of that going on, definitely. Because the good places, I mean, they're good sites. You don't want to let them go to waste because they don't happen to be near a geo or bio site, So that's
Oh,
just
yeah.
the way it is.
I mean,
But,
I
yeah.
got ED Void for this stuff. HUD that shows which direction you have to go for a specific coordinate.
Oh, Edison.
Yeah, I think he's that the one, isn't it? I tried that a while ago. Didn't seem to work with my system.
Huh.
I tried it. It worked out fine, but I was just like, you know what? I know how to read coordinates, so it's not that difficult for me. But I can understand for other people, it's
Nah.
tedious looking at those numbers
just-
and then just like flying or driving around in circles until you're going the right direction.
I know approximately how that would work, but I'm just way too lazy for it. Low gravity, of course, low gravity. Oh. The materials take ages to fall down again.
Where are you about at the moment?
Middle of nowhere, near Beagle.
Okay. You're not actually on a particular planet.
No, just a random one I
Okay,
found with
he
some
is
tall
in
mountains.
IOREF's UM-WB15-0.
Yep.
Not
Good-
just
That's
good
Dr.
planet name.
64,556 light years from the bubble. Haha.
Like it.
Oh, geez, you're like right next to Arnaldo, actually.
I
Oh.
don't have that
Oh,
one on
who's
my
that?
friends list.
You're also right next to one of my bookmarks. What is that?
Mm. Did you?
Why do I even
Clean
have this
them up
bookmark?
already?
What is this?
I don't know.
Sikia TS-K C11-O.
Oh, wait a minute. Seek here.
Oh,
Why do I have this?
Wait,
Why is this
what
a
was
thing?
that number
I don't know.
again?
So Sikia CEECKEAEA TS-K C11-0. And it's the first. It's the first moon of a moon.
A moon.
Only-
Can
the
you
only thing it
post the
says-
system name, because it's easier, so I can just see if I went there before or not. Someone is
Yeah,
at the Grand Rings currently from my friends list.
Here you go. It's in
Take my
the.
guesses.
It's over on the Great Hall for you there, Nagi, in the radio. All it says is that there's water geysers. It's the only thing it says about it. I have no idea why it's
Oh.
bookmarked.
You didn't. Yeah, you can't. Oh my god, that system name. Ugh. Couldn't pick a more complicated one, could you? TS-K C11-0. Is that correct? No, I haven't been there. Okay. Yeah, I guess it's because of the geysers.
No idea what that is or why it's bookmarked.
Hmm.
You should name your bookmarks. That helps.
Oh,
Yep.
it's so much work.
Oh my god, I just see your position and... Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Cenk is doing some work. Yep. Oh, sorry, I really want to go here, but I can't.
I got a bunch of random stuff out there bookmarked, and I don't know why.
I know why I have this one bookmarked. And actually, I'm curious if a hacker actually thought about that and went there. But I don't think they care about that stuff. I'm talking about Cygni X-3, by the way. See,
Like the only thing out there that I know is VZM, and that's Maya's mountain.
you literally cannot reach this system because it's too far out. Yeah, it's one of the real life X-ray sources that they.
Oh, Cygni X3.
Yeah. As you
Yeah,
can see when you zoom in on the map, there's nothing there.
The
Literally
closest
nothing.
system to that is like 260 light years or something like that.
No, 16,000, I think.
Is it that far? Jeez.
It's incredibly far. I don't know. Without hacks, you cannot go there. I'm not encouraging people to use hacks. Well, no. Especially not for increasing range, because I've heard that you get banned for that very, very quickly, because it's kind of easy to detect for Frontier. So don't even think about doing that.
Nah.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think most
I
of
don't
the
know why
hacks in the
people would
game,
cheat.
a lot of the accusations seem to be to do with combat. They're not really so much exploration, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the hack system, the hack stuff is. It kind of does affect everybody in a way, because it's obviously the jump range thing, which is a weird glitch in itself. But then, like, there are people who are using it to like affect power play by moving things to different places where they shouldn't be, and
Yeah, power play are the ones that do the most cheating, which is weird.
Yeah.
I feel like power play is something barely anyone is using. Well,
Also heard
I don't think people use it mostly for power play itself. I think people are using it to basically rapidly increase their status with someone, so they can either get the fun toys, or like
Yeah.
Li Young Rui, obviously get their exploration bonuses without actually having to risk doing the missions to get that.
Well, I only got interdicted 3 times out of 15 runs I had to do for that. So it wasn't that bad. But the clicking is so fucking tedious. Ah, I did all of that on one day, and I was so broken afterwards.
But I mean, like, there's all kinds of things. Like, obviously, you know, the being able to get the prismatic shields, you know, really quickly, or Grom bombs, or the swarm missiles, you know, which end up not actually being that useful,
Oh yeah.
but they're just fun toys. That, well, the prismatics are cool,
Oh,
but
I actually found that...
everything else is pretty much just like, oh, this is a fun toy. Beyond that, it's not really that
I think
great.
there are two exceptions, or three exceptions basically. That's one, the prismatic shields. Second, the advanced plasma accelerators, because they are just... They have only upsides. They don't have any downside to them. And the pacifier fragment cannons, they are also pretty powerful. Regarding the pack hound missiles, I think a really
Yeah, the
niche
pack
use
hounds
of
are the swarm missiles.
let me speak. The pack hounds have a niche use, and that is for pirating actually, because when you try to use hatchbreaker limpets, you will notice that it will only drop very few amounts of cargo. But if you damage the cargo hatch, that's a different matter. And the pack hounds have the ability to dodge point defense, and that's the thing there. So you can just break the
Okay.
cargo hatch with them, and you will get the cargo.
So it's very niche indeed, very specific.
Yep. Because I tried using them in a conflict zone, and I noticed when you're not right in front of your target, a lot of the missiles actually miss the target. So you do less damage when using Seekers, and you have an insane heat build up on top of that.
The fuck is going on with that?
Sorry, what's going on?
The CC and the Jacuz bar. Some weird shit going on right now.
What the fuck?
Happens when you have in your Oh god, what the What? Just a fucking FPS drop all of a sudden. For no reason.
It's the usual suspects.
Probably just a Windows update running in the background again. It happened to me once. It just fucking... The game did not like it at all. I was just using this, and it was awful.
I think we are kinda done now. Or do you still have any specific about the expedition that you want to talk about?
No, I think we've covered most things. If there's anyone who wants any other specific questions asked, just ask any of the staff members on Discord, and we'll soon get back to you about that.
Delete. Hello.
Hello?
God damn it. Fuck. Now it just froze for a minute there. It might have
Alright,
been my
so,
controller switching off. I don't know.
Anybody who's interested, the expedition is, of course, Apollo 11 50th anniversary expedition. The information is available both on ADSM.net under expeditions. They have a link to their forum, as well as a link to the A11X, as you called it, Discord, which is the Discord, of course, you mentioned to ask any more questions and get any more information. You are flying in Bleakcom, of course, is the other point to be
Yes.
made. So
Yes.
No gank is allowed here.
if anyone's not a member of FleetCom already, and the details of how to apply for it will be in Discord, and I think there might be a link on EDSM I've put as well for that. But yeah, you do need to be in the FleetCom private group, which has its own application form and process, and it's best to do that as quickly as you can, because it usually takes a few days or weeks sometimes to actually sort of come round. But fingers crossed, everyone will be in time, and there won't be any problems.
All right. Well, it's been about 2 hours. Nagi,
Oh,
if you
shit.
want to send us out, I've literally just ticked over 5,000 hours on Elite played.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
I literally just popped over to Steam to look at it, and as I was
And
watching
he
it,
still
just
only
clicked
has
over.
one account.
Yeah.
But Nagi, if you want to send us off there.
Oh yeah, this has been a new thing that we just introduced, a new kind of category talk show with Spotlight, where we will not only talk about specific persons, but specific topics, and of course present new expeditions to you. There will be more kind of stuff coming in the future, so thank you for listening, for tuning in. Remember, tomorrow I will also do a live stream of that meetup that we are having. And yeah, see you
And
next
thank
time.
you to our guests for being here. Do you guys have any final words you want to send us off with?
No, other than just turn up, guys, and you'll have some fun. Guaranteed.
Alright,
All right,
have
well,
a good time.
I've been your host,
Goodbye.
Shanks Otomi, here on the radio. Nagi's been on the video, and that's gonna be it for us. We'll see you when we see you.